welcome everybody to episode number 1 of the East Kilbride Football Club TV Behind Closed Doors podcast with myself, Steg Thompson, and David Craig. We're going to be bringing this to you hopefully every month going forward, where we talk about the previous games of the month and then talk about the games that's upcoming for the next month, and hopefully some goal highlights and stuff going forward. But welcome anyway, David.
How you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a good month. It's been a good start for the team, and we'll kind of highlight that as we kind of go through the fixtures.
They've definitely started on the right foot anyway. Probably as everybody's expected of them, from my own personal opinion on it anyway. But with some of the great signings that they've made, how do you feel with the club's signings so far?
Well, yeah, we've had a busy summer, and it was always kind of threatening to be that way with the introduction of the new manager and a lot of players leaving. It always looked like there was going to be quite a lot of turnaround, and that was reflected in the opening game of the season when we had 9 debuts in the starting 11. So
that's a lot of people as well, like to kind of get to know each other for the first game as well, innit? Like, touching on like them all playing, like I remember watching the highlights against the youth team. There was a couple of youth players within that. I'll need to obviously point them out for you to get their names, but there's a couple of the youth players that actually stood out in the left hand side more of the second half. You maybe know the striker I'm talking about, and the sort of left back, left winger boys. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but to me they looked impressive as well. So there's exciting things behind the scenes with them, I would imagine.
yeah, absolutely. To be honest, I don't know a lot about the youth team either. That's a brand new squad that's been put together as well. But it was a very interesting dynamic having the kind of first game, behind closed doors, and it was East Kilbride versus the kind of under 21s. But they've definitely got a good few promising talents in their squad, and we're hoping to do a wee bit of filming with them this season as well and do some highlights for their home games in the league. So
brilliant! I'm sure they'll be pleased to hear about that as well if
yeah,
they're tuning in. Well, but before we go on to the previous month's fixtures, then is there any signings so far that's really stood out to yourself?
Well, the main one's got to be one that took all the headlines, and Chris Erskine signing from Livingston to East Kilbride was, I believe, he's the first player to actually drop from the top level of Scottish football to the Lowland League in a direct kind of transfer of such. But he looks a very, very decent signing for the club. He looks a very clever player. His movement looks very good, and as you can see when we get to talk about Berwick, he took his opening goal for the club really well as well.
I know, like some of the highlights I've saw the team so far, like just like the passing like really stands out, like switching play fast. Do you know what I mean? Getting the ball to feet for awkward angles and stuff like that. Stuff like that will win them games. Do you know what I mean? And certainly sort them in for the boys in some games anyway, because there is a few young boys playing. Do you know what I mean? At that level that I've noticed over the years myself, but. Very interesting. Like for myself, like I liked the big centre back that they've signed for Morecambe.
Stephen Old.
Stephen Old. How can I forget his first name there in my head? He's got the same first name as me. I've liked seeing in a couple of the highlights his goals. He looks a real threat for corners, especially like going forward. And he's obviously somebody that you want in your own box to get rid of them into.
Yeah, no, he's very aggressive and attacks the ball very well. And the guys were joking against Gretna, like when we had set corners, it looked like we had penalties at times.
That's the way you want it to be, though. Like, I know for previously playing at a lot lower level than that, like, if somebody's good with set pieces, it's the last thing you want wandering into your box. Do you know what I mean? Somebody like him.
Well, it's quite funny because traditionally Skilbride never score from corners, so it's quite good this season that we've actually reversed that and we actually look a threat from set plays. So it's
saying that, mate. Like, I think he's going to add a lot of goals then for going up for corners and free kicks anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
What we'll do then is we'll start off the fixtures of October. First game up against Stirling Uni or University of Stirling. How do you feel that game went then?
Well, as the games go, it had a bit of everything for the opening match of the season. It was first half was very, very kind of even. East Kilbride maybe shaded at the chances, and late on in the half, East Stirling probably felt like probably should have scored. So going in 0-0 at the break was probably a fair result. Then not long into the second half, one of our new signings, Bell, hit a short back pass, and the Stirling striker, the Stirling Uni striker, ran in and slotted it past the East Kilbride goalkeeper. So all of a sudden, you're thinking, first game of the season, this isn't the way we planned it, but fair play to the guys. Malky scored a cracking volley from a Erskine knockdown to bring us back level. And after that, it was end to end. Stirling Uni missed an open goal. I'm not entirely sure how he missed it. It was a bit like the old Gaza one in Euro '96, where the ball appeared to go through his foot as he tried to make contact. And Stephen Olds seen the keeper off his line and hit the post from a free kick inside his own half. Kind of very similar to the goals you've seen in the Europa League the last couple of weeks with Roof and the goal against PSV. So yeah, we had a bit of everything. With 10 minutes to go, we go down to 10 men, and you think, right, okay, this could be a kind of, maybe a draw is a good result at this stage, but Darryl Haley stepped up with an overhead kick with 5 minutes to go and managed to get a victory for us, 2-1.
I know, definitely. Goals like that as well, man. It's like stuff that you need. Moments of magic, do you know what I mean? Like, especially, like, it was, I would agree fully, like, for watching the highlights of the game. Like, it was a very tight game, do you know what I mean? Like, for me, I felt it could have went either way. And, like, when that, as you say, when that first goal went in, you're like, oh no, like, have they just switched off here? And then there's the other team, Stirling Uni, going to shut up shop now, do you know what I mean? Like, but it was a very, as you say, very interesting start of the season. I'm sure it gave the boys probably a kick up the backside, do you know what I mean? To put it politely, like, I'm sure the managers probably had a word with them, like, and said, you can't, like, let these boys come and play. Do you know what I mean? You have got the experience.
Well, it was quite funny, like, because just before the red card, we made a very attacking substitute to kind of go for the win.
Aye.
So we then score, and next, I'm looking along the team. I'm like, well, how are we going to set up? Because we went from like a back three back to a back four again,
Aye.
and Anton Brady, who's an attacking midfielder, was at left back, and Malky, who's our number 9 striker, was slotted in at right. And I'm like, this is such a bizarre opening game of the season. But we dug in and got the result, so that was the important thing.
That is the important thing. Going away with the 3 points, like, that's what every team wants at the start of the season, regardless who you're up against. Going for that, then 3 days later, came up against Gretna, winning 6-1. That's some scoreline as well. Like, certainly makes other teams in the leagues take notice. Hang on a minute, they get a scrappy win against Stirling Uni, and now they're winning 6-1. How do you feel the game against Gretna went?
Well, we touched on it earlier. Looking at the team coming out of the dressing room, you go, first thing you notice about this new East Kilbride side is we're a lot taller than we used to be. The managers sign guys that are all 6 foot plus, and the height of our defence is massive compared to what it used to be. And we've put a lot of height into the team, and it paid off in this match in particular. 4 goals from corners.
Aye, that's what you want, isn't it? Definitely. Like, they look a physical team as well. Like, even though some of the boys, like Erskine himself, like, I would say he's quite a creative player, but like, even some of the games he's looking quite, do you know what I mean, physical in comparison. I don't know if it's just the way he's been playing in a couple of highlights that I've saw. Like, I thought he's getting stuck in a wee bit here as well.
Okay, like the team, there's a lot of commitment in the team. Like, everyone is putting in a lot of effort in the park and working within the system and trying to get the points. So it's one of those ones where you can't fault any guys for effort so far this season. That for a brand new team of 11 guys coming in, that they've all been excellent and worked really hard off the ball, and everyone's putting a shift in the park, and that showed. I mean, fair enough, Gretna are traditionally a team in the last couple of seasons anyway that have been down the kind of bottom end of the table, but You
Hmm.
still show up and win these matches, and that's what we did on this occasion.
I think as well, like obviously from my perspective of the league as well, like with teams like the Lowland League and stuff, League Two even getting up a bit, League One, even though Gretna was a team at the bottom end of the league maybe last season, you still don't know who's turning up really, do you? Or how they're going to start themselves. It's kind of these leagues lower down usually do cause a few shocks. Do you know what I mean? The season starts, I find. But I am sure the management and the coaching staff were probably buzzing with the scoreline though. How have you feel the coaching staff and manager, just to touch on that? How do you think they've settled so far?
Oh, I think it's been great. They were obviously under a lot of pressure to hit the ground running. With the signings we made, I think it's created a bit of a scalp, and teams want to be the teams that take points off us and get results at K Park. And like last season was unbelievable in terms of points dropped at K Park. I think it was the most points we've dropped in the league there since the Lowland League began. So that was the first thing they had to put right with the new signings. And the gaffer Steve Aitken and Durant and Chris Aitken have all settled really well, and they've got us playing a good style of football. Uh, Balls on the deck, getting knocked about really well, and creating loads of chances. And it was just quite funny that the Gretna game, it just seemed to be we had the delivery from set pieces sussed, and 4 goals from corners is unbelievable.
do, you
Two
think, do you think they've
goals.
been practicing them at training then?
Well, they must have been the game before this because it just seemed to be on the money every time. So,
Aye.
but yeah, it was a great result, and 6-1 for the first home game of the season. There's no complaints.
I know, definitely. I'm just going to try. I'm going to put you in the spot a wee bit. Like, just obviously, I know we discussed Stirling Uni. Did you have a man of the match you felt for that game that stood out to you?
The first game of the season,
Aye,
I would say Peyton in the middle of the park. I've been really impressed with him so far. He's came in and he's been the new club captain, and everything's positive, which I really like. Every time he gets the ball down, it's a forward pass,
aye,
and teams I find in the past can be quite guilty of overplaying things and knocking it from side to side along the back four. Where with Peyton, everything's in a forward direction, constantly looking to get the ball forward. So everything's positive, and yeah, it's noticed in the way we play that it's get the ball down and play positive passes. Obviously when they're on, but
aye. That's exactly what you want there, man. Like, I've been very impressed with him. I'm going to be a wee bit probably come across wrong, but like I kind of expected them to come in and like set that sort of precedent anyway. For my own personal opinion of him, because obviously the levels he's played at, and the opinions of talking about him with other people, I don't know. I've just had like a high expectation of him, but it looks so far that he's turning up. What about the Gretna game then? How do you feel with that? You gave the man of the match there.
well, you've got to give it to Stephen Old, picking up 2 goals and was on a chasing a hat trick at half time for a centre half. You can't really ignore that, but.
Aye,
It was a very professional team performance. Darren Smith opened his account for the team. Ricky Miller scored. Darryl Healy and an own goal. So the goals were shared, but
mm-hmm.
and Gretna got a late consolation from the spot with a very well taken penalty. But
Aye,
it was
aye.
a very professional performance, and that's the encouraging thing. But we don't give away a lot of chances, and we defended very well on the day.
No, I'd agree with that. Definitely, you've got to give a centre back getting 2 goals, ain't you? Like, I'm sure he was delighted as well. Like with that. Putting his name out there, like I've got this, boys. Do you know what I mean? Gives the lads confidence as well. So we'll move on then to the Gala Ferrydean Rovers game then, where East Kilbride won 3-0 at home at K Park. How do you feel that match went?
Yeah, again, it was a very professional performance from East Kilbride. We took the lead through a Craig Malcolm penalty. There was a second half volley from Ricky Miller before Malky rounded off the score in the 82nd to make it 3-0 with a header from a delivery from a free kick. And again, it was another game where the teams really controlled the game. And that's what I've been really impressed with so far with East Kilbride. It's everything's at their tempo, and teams are having to sit back and defend. It's very, very positive and everything's forward going, but it's very controlled as well. And
Aye.
yeah, it was a comfortable 3-0 victory in the end.
I'm sure, like them having the control of these matches, do you know what I mean? It'll give them confidence. I want a goal. They'll all be fighting for the goals. Do you know what I mean? Like if they get the chances, because obviously if you're in control, you're going to get more and more chances. So moving on then to the Saturday 24th of October game, where they were away to Berwick Rangers. A wee cheeky 1-0 away in the road there. How do you feel that match went?
Well, you can argue this was the biggest test so far from the team, playing away to a former SPFL side, and it was always going to be difficult, and that's the way it turned out. It wasn't a classic, and it was one of the games that looked destined to be a draw in the end. Berwick had a decent chance in the first half, which Connor done well to put round the post, and then after that it was very, very tight.
Aye.
Luckily, Erskine stepped up. I think it was around 85 minutes. A nice wee interplay between him and Peyton, and it's kind of flicked up, and he's taken a nice touch and volleyed it past the keeper. And that was enough to see out the victory. Big 3 points.
I would say I agree with you. Big 3 points. And touching back my earlier point, it's like teams like Berwick Rangers, they've got the pull with the name still, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? To get local boys and neighbouring boys into their team. Do you know what I mean? Is my opinion. But I would agree with you. Like that's a great result for the team. I'm sure the management were happy with that as well. Obviously, who would you? I don't know if I asked you. Did I ask you for the man of the match for the Gala game? Who would you have gave that?
Oh, the Gala game, sorry, the man of the match. In my opinion, probably Craig Malcolm. You can't argue with that. Scored 2 goals and took them both very well. I wasn't there in person, so I was based on the highlights for that one as well, unfortunately. But
no, that's cool. I've got to admit that I've only been watching the highlights as well, mate. So, what about the Berwick game? Who would you have gave man of the match as well?
Well, it's one of those ones where you look past them. You can't look past them at midfield. So guys like Peyton and Erskine were brilliant on that day. And it was the interplay between the two of them which got Erskine his goal. So I'd probably give Chris the nod for man of the match on that occasion.
I know, I'd agree with you. Like, obviously, with the likes of previous games, watching like Peyton that, as I said, like they certainly get stuck in. Moving on then, the next game was Wednesday, 28th of October, just a few days ago. The 0-0 draw with East Stirling. How do you feel they went with obviously another former SPFL team there?
Well, we've actually got quite a good record against East Stirling in recent seasons, but it's not an easy place to go to. It's always like narrow victories, and to be fair, I watched the game on Shire TV, and East Kilbride had one off the line the first half. They had one kind of not as tight to the East Kilbride one, but kind of off the line the second. A couple of shots from outside the box. Anton came closely on, but a draw is probably a fair result.
Aye.
But looking at the fixtures we had in October, a lot of difficult places to go to. So to get these out the way going forward in the season is not a bad thing. And for that to be the only venue where we drop points, it shows you how good the start the team's made.
No, I would definitely agree there. Like, and obviously to get another clean sheet as well. That's something else I was going to comment. Like, they've only conceded a couple of goals. Do you know what I mean? 2 goals, sorry, so far this season. Like, and to get another clean sheet in the road's a big thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, that shows how solid the defence, midfield, and the goalkeeper is. Do you know what I mean? Who would you have gave man of the match for the East Stirling game then as well?
It would probably be Peyton, to be honest. Like, everything we had positive went through the middle of the park, went through him. Very positive, forward-looking player, and yeah, it wasn't a classic, and it was a bit of a battle, to be honest. But the team defended very well, didn't give away any massive kind of glaring opportunities for Shire to take the leads, and were unlucky not to score on a couple of occasions. But it was a real team effort, And
Aye.
as I said, a share of spoils is probably a fair result.
No, definitely. We'll move on then against for the game. Sorry, against the Spartans. 2-0 win. How do you feel that went?
Yeah, I mean, it's another team we've got a lot of history with, Spartans, and you never tend to get easy matches against them either. So to come away with a 2-0 victory, goals in the second half from Woodsy, and first goal for the club for Bell. It was a good result, and the Spartans made us have to work. They were organised, and they force you to break them down, and that's the way it transpired. And you'll see for yourself in the highlights.
Aye.
The goal came from a really well worked move, and it's one of the ones you don't see too often. It was a free kick just on the halfway line, kind of narrow inside their own half,
Mm-hmm.
and within two passes, Woodsy's through and the keeper and scores. So
Aye.
I get pinged into, I think it was Erskine's feet, and he does really well just to kind of flick it around the corner. And Woodsy came in and took his goal really well. So that broke the deadlock. And then the second goal comes from a cross that gets knocked across. And Stephen Bell's there to knock into the empty net to get his first goal for the club. So yeah, it was very positive. And it's another clean sheet against a decent team. And it's good to get 3 points against Spartans and get them out the way at this stage in the season. So yeah, it's been a good start for the club.
I know, definitely. The way the league's actually shaped up is pretty cool for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, boys will be happy with the top spot. I know last week it was a wee bit of switcheroo again, wasn't it? But I think for the first sort of set of results, like, the management and the players should be happy with that. I don't know how you feel. Every result fair.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those ones where on paper you look at it and go, right, you've got the University of Stirling who are going to take points off a teams this season. To go there and get 3 points is a big thing. And then away to Berwick Rangers and away to East Stirlingshire, then Spartans at home. All games that have got, if you don't show up with the right mentality, then you can possibly drop points. So if you're looking for East Kilbride to challenge for the title this season, these are games that you have to win. And to come out it with conceding 2 goals in 6 games and only dropping 2 points, it's been a strong start to the season.
I know, it's definitely impressive. We'll move on then to the November fixtures then. So we've got starting off next Saturday, the 7th of November, on the road again to another tough team, second place Celtic Hearts. How do you think this match is going to go?
Well, this is the one on paper everyone wants to see, isn't it?
Aye.
Both teams have signed strong, have had a strong transfer window for signings in the summer, and brought players down from the higher leagues in Scotland to play in the Lowland League. So it's one of those ones where it could be a season defining match. Like
Aye.
in the Lowland League, you only play each other twice, so it's one of those matches where if the on paper with the bookies, it's the two favourites for the league.
Aye.
So it's a very, very big match to kind of that's coming up on Saturday, and to be honest, it could really go either way.
I think it could as well. Like, they're both going to want to set that precedent. Do you know what I mean? Going forward, they've both got the points on the board. Obviously, Kelty's got a game in hand there as well. So, like, East Kilbride, I'm sure the boys will all be happy. The management team, do you know what I mean? Going forward, we're only conceding 2 goals. They'll obviously be want to keep that as well. They'll be want to go away and get another clean sheet, but I'm going to be really looking forward to watching highlights here. I'm sure no just East Kilbride fans are. I'm sure everybody's going to be want to watch the highlights. So I'm excited for it as well. Hopefully there's not a lot of injuries in the team as well and the boys can pull it off.
Yeah, that everyone's looking forward to it, and it's you just take these games. This is why you're in the league, for these kind of big games. So it's everyone at the club's really looking forward to it, and I believe the guys are confident we can go there and get a result.
Brilliant. Well, moving on for that, yeah, right away, obviously, for the month of November, you're starting with a big game, but then you're on the road again to Dalbeattie Star in the Wednesday night. Probably going to be a cold Wednesday night, I'll call it now, being November. Cold, wet, and miserable. How do you think that game's going to go?
I think when they make the fixtures, they always have a wee kind of sly smile and go, let's send East Kilbride down to Dalbeattie on a Wednesday night. I think this has been the same for the last like 4 or 5 seasons. We've played Dalbeattie on a Wednesday. It's never a Saturday. It's always a Wednesday night. 2 hours down, 2 hours back. But, yeah, I mean, it'll be in the aftermath of the Celtic game, and it's one of the matches. I mean, the weather right now, it's not that great. So you're hoping that and the conditions improve for that one. Grass Park, so it could go either way.
Could get called off if it's a grass
That's
park.
it.
Do you know what I mean? That's one of the ones.
Especially the rain's been this month, or this week. Sorry, it's been horrendous. So
Aye, there's been a few games, but it's no fault of clubs self. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a few games that's been called off here and there, at different levels, with pitches and stuff. So fingers crossed that it goes ahead though, because that's the last thing you don't want, fixture congestion, do you, going forward as well?
I can imagine it will. Like the park down at Dalbeat is great, so I would just have to be like unlucky with the weather. But we are into November now, so you can never rule that out. So
Aye, with the
but,
downpours we've been
yeah.
having in that, like, aye, definitely. Well, moving on then to the next Saturday game, the 14th of November at home. Another big game, Bonus. I think that's going to be another game that's going to be tough.
Yeah, well, they're running on quantity. They were promoted last season, with the season coming to a short early on. Last year, there was no relegation from the Lowland League, but there was promotion, and that's what the Lowland League decided was the kind of fairest way to to go forward with it. Which you've got to admire. Like, no team's worse off, but the team who won the league got the promotion in the end. So, uh,
Aye.
and they've started really well, Bonus. So they're flying. I think that they've had the best start for a team ever promoted into the Lowland League. So it's one of those ones where, again, there's no easy games at this level.
Nah, definitely no.
Easy
And
games.
as you say, like, I think a lot of teams, like, will respect them, but, like, if they don't, like, it's a team that will, I think, demand a bit of respect for teams. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
With
absolutely.
the start they've had, they're sitting fifth now in 13 points, so they're only 3 points off the top themselves, and they
Yeah.
have got a game in hand compared to East Kilbride as well. So that they're not doing bad at all. It'll be an interesting one. Definitely. The week after, it's obviously the South Challenge Cup game against the St Anthony's, away. How do you feel that game's going to go in the cup?
Well, yeah, it's again one of those games. I don't believe we finished last season's South Challenge
Oh, is
Cup.
it last season still? Sorry.
No. This is the fault. This is a draw for this season. But I believe we had BSC Glasgow in the semi-final from last season. So who knows when that will get played? Just the way everything's went. But yeah, St Anthony's. It's another team I don't know a lot about, but they'll come here looking for a scalp off East Kilbride. So
Aye.
it's up to the guys in the day to turn up and put in a professional performance to get through to the next round.
Aye, no, they definitely will. Like, going to McKenna Park, I'm sure will be a tough one as well, and it'll play probably a wee bit in their favour. Do you know what I mean? Like, being the smaller team, no disrespect to them, but, like, it'll be something that they'll be happy about, that they're no travelling to somewhere new. Do you know what I mean? They've got their familiar surroundings about them, so I'm sure they'll be happy to get stuck in there and show them, yeah, some of the boys who's dropped the divisions, that this is how it's played at this level. Do you know what I mean? And they'll get stuck in, I'm sure.
That's it. It's like an old-fashioned cup tie in that kind of
Aye,
sense, where you've got the underdogs try and make a name for themselves, and I'm sure they'll give 100% a day, and it's up to East Kilbride to show up, travel down there, and put in a professional performance.
definitely. Well, moving on for that, there is then the Tuesday tie at K Park against Caledonian Braves. Tuesday night, how do you think that fixture could go? Because Cali Braves are a team probably that could take points off people still, I think, as well.
Oh yeah, very dangerous team. Got a couple of our ex-players there, so we know of the dangers they possess with Jack Smith and Ross McNeil up front. So yeah, they're a team that wants to improve and wants to kind of rise up the league. So they're another team. They'll be looking for scalps, but as I said previously, there's no easy games at this level, so it'll be a test for our guys, and it's just similar to what we've done against Gala and Spartans. Just hopefully get a clean sheet and get a couple of goals and get the 3 points on the table.
I know, definitely, especially the boys used to playing for the club as well. They'll be out to kind of get one up. Do you know what I mean? Like that, anybody that goes elsewhere and you're playing against your old team, I done it as a boy. You want to go in there and go, I'm still playing well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure that they'll be looking forward to the tie. The Saturday game after that is another tie away. It's another really tough fixture. Bonnyrigg Rose to end the month of November. Do you know what I mean? I think that's going to be another tough end of the month game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Bonnyrigg will be there nearabouts in the title race this season. They seem to be overlooked with everyone talking about the signings Kelty and East Kilbride have made, but you should not discount Bonnyrigg. They were in the race last year by merit, and they'll look to go again, and they'll play that like a cup tie. They make it very difficult in the home patch, and it's up to our guys to go down there and look to wrestle the 3 points off them.
I know, definitely. And that's the thing as well. Like these bigger games, being on the road with them, it's probably good to get them out the way for East Kilbride. You know what I mean? Like the boys will be happy probably to get that one out the way early on, I would say. And it's going to be a tough game, but the way they've been playing, only conceding 2 goals, I think East Kilbride is going to be looking good this month. I think I'm going to put my name out there with that one. Do you know what I mean? My neck out there. The boys should be confident. There is a few big ties in there though.
Oh yeah, Bonnyrigg's the biggest because it's a difficult place to go to, and if we can come away with 3 points, brilliant. It kind of gets that out the way effectively, but it's no guarantee by any kind of measure. So it's a big game. But as you said, once it's gone, it's gone. So we only play each other home and away in this league. So once the tie's finished, that's it to next season. So.
That's it. That's what I was meaning. Like the boys will be looking forward to kind of getting the big away ties or the bigger teams of the league on the road first, get them out the way. Because then I don't know. Like when I was younger and that and playing football, I kind of always preferred playing where I was familiar and the tougher teams coming to you type thing. Do you know what I mean? So.
Well, that's the way it's looking. Away to Kelty and away to Bonnyrigg next month. Well, previously we've been away to East Stirlingshire and away to Stirling Uni. So all of a sudden, we're 2 months into the season, and a lot of our tougher away ties are kind of out the window.
Aye.
So you're looking at the kind of when the title race kind of heats up towards the end of the season, a lot of teams will be coming to East Kilbride. So if we can survive this and get the points on the board, that kind of sets us up well for the new year.
Aye, that's kind of where I was going with the sort of comments. Like getting the away ties out the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'll be interesting, man. Like, and there's obviously that next game is against Kelty Hearts is to start the month. I'm excited about that one to see how it goes, and I'm sure every other team in the league, not just East Kilbride fans and Kelty fans, every team will be wanting to see how that one goes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I bet you most teams that sitting at the top end of the league, they'll probably be happy to see that end as a draw, probably for both teams to drop the points. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Most teams would be happy to see that end not on each or something, but I don't know. I think it could be a couple of goals in it for each team. But we'll wait and see, won't we?
I know it's one of the ones that gets built up and it'll probably finish 0-0.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
moving on then to from the fixture aspect, we'll move on to the goal of the month. Is there any favourites you've had so far for the goal of the month, or do you want to take us through it?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a Twitter poll when this podcast comes out, and we're going to get the fans to vote for the top 4 goals this month.
I think that's fair, and I'm sure the fans will be excited to pick that as well and be involved in it rather than, do you know what I mean, even just us two maybe picking it or whatever. I'm sure everybody will be happy to put their 2 pence in it and their comment below as well. Do you know what I mean? Is there any that stood out to you personally though?
Yeah, so we've whittled it down to the kind of final 4. Goal A is Craig Malcolm's strike against the University of Stirling in the opening game. Goal B is Darryl Healy's overhead kick from the same match, University of Stirling. Goal C was Chris Erskine's volley against Berwick Rangers. And goal D is Paul Woods' strike against Spartans at the weekend.
Brilliant. I've not saw the Spartans game yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Do you know what I mean? If that's one of the goals that's in there, I need to watch that game, do you know what I mean, and see what it was about as well. So I can't make a comment on his goal, but I'm excited to see it. So I'm really buzzing to be helping at the club and be involved with these types of things, David, as you know. So fingers crossed, we'll keep these coming every month. I'm looking forward to doing the next one, mate. As always, it's a pleasure talking to you as well. Is there anything else you want to add on to the end of the podcast? Or?
No, nothing that stands out. Just that, yeah, as always, we're trying to interact with the fans more and things like that, and that's why we're going to do a wee monthly podcast to kind of, from the club's perspective, how the team's going, and just to have a wee breakdown of how the results went and what's coming up the previous month, and then we'll do for a wee bit of fun, we'll do a wee goal of the month competition. So
aye, no, definitely. I like the idea of all that, because times are tough at the minute for everybody with this COVID, do you know what I mean? And getting into another lockdown, it gives people something to watch and tune into, and do you know what I mean? It's something to take your mind off of everything else that's going out there at the minute. So I am really looking forward to doing more, and not just helping the club out with that, David, but like everybody gives, even other fans for other clubs, something else to watch as well. Do you know what I mean? And to maybe make comments, because I'll probably make a fool of myself going forward in these as well. Do you know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to them, mate. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope you all enjoy.